I've already applied the primer to the drop pod, as you can see, perfectly black. I used Mexicolor primer. Never worked with it before. But I have to say, it's pretty nice. I used it for the vampires from Warhammer Underworlds, and the result, yeah, it was really good. This primer isn't super expensive, but it is really good. I tell you in case you don't use original primers from Games Workshop or Citadel for some reason. Before we apply our blue base color, and of course it will be blue, we all know what color the Ultramarines use. But before that, the highlights. I will use pure white from Vallejo Game Color. Here it is, dead white, perfectly white color. Remember guys, this is the best white. I've never seen a white like this from any other company. No white scar from Citadel can't even compare to this. I will apply it with an airbrush, and in order to get perfect results, I'll use these two wonderful bottles. And you will see how well they thin out the paint and how well it works with an airbrush. If you don't have an airbrush, I don't know. I wouldn't paint vehicles with regular brushes. I once painted a rhino with a brush and I didn't like the results at all. Airbrush is our best friend. Get an airbrush, you won't regret it. I take the airbrush and begin highlighting. I highlighted an angle from the top. Now I want to try a new technique. This will be something new for me. I'll use gloss varnish straight on the primer and the highlights, in order to give the blue color and the highlights more depth. PSA for you guys, don't forget to clean your airbrush. I use this liquid. It's cheap and lasts a while. Always use this for your airbrush, no hot water, no regular brushes. Of course, you can see the varnish, I applied it in a thin layer. Nothing here shines, but the varnish adds a little gloss. Now let's apply the blue color everywhere. It's called Macragge Blue. Can't do without it. It's the OG color for the Ultramarines, and as we know, they come from planet Macragge, and the Citadel calls this color Macragge Blue. A little correction. I decided it would be a little dumb to apply the blue everywhere. When the drop pod, as we all know, can open. Amazing design as always, like it a lot. And here we should use silver, I think. And it would be a huge mistake to first paint the petals blue and then splatter it all with metallic. So I guess I will start with the metallic here. And in order to get a nice metallic color, I have a bottle of Vallejo Metal Color. Or, you know, guess what? An airbrush. We will use it. It's an amazing color, I've already used it before. The color is truly great. We use it with an airbrush here. And now finally we use Macragge Blue. I have everything ready, so just let's go. Perfect. Just as I wanted. Now let's restore the metallic. And then restore the blue everywhere. We'll continue using Macragge Blue for restoration. But I've already thinned it in my palette, using the same chemicals I used for the airbrush. I like it this way, you can use water, it's not too important. Of course, compared to what we did with an airbrush, it won't look as impressive. But we'll do something about it later, so let's not worry about it. For now, we're restoring the color, or to be precise, we're just filling in the spaces where the airbrush couldn't reach. Oh, I almost forgot. These bits here we need to paint to the plastic here, the part with the dots, I will do it. Now it's time to add a little more colors. Still blues, but we'll use different shades. And we'll use a regular dish sponge. I will mix different colors with a favorite Macrec blue. I will add some white and will simply apply it with strokes like this. Looks nice, doesn't it? I will add this color to the mixed white blue. Maybe even add a little bit more blue, though for now let's try with the original without mixing. And I think it will look just great. This is how it looks. Now it's time for the black parts. And then we'll start with the metallic. For the black color, we as always will use Abaddon Black and no other. It is the best black out there, I love it. Also, please don't forget to apply black over here. So you don't just have pure grey metallic inside the pedal, paint these parts over here black. All of the outside metallic parts are ready, and all that's left are the metallic parts inside. And now it's time for the Nuln Oil wash, which we will use in order to make the shade on these metallic parts. The wash is already applied to every single part. They already have some volume, as you can see, and now we will brighten it all a little by dry brushing with Necron compound. To do it, we take the paint like this and spread it out on a paper to get rid of the excess. Otherwise it will work just like regular acrylic, and we don't want that. We needed to make sure we can apply it carefully. And now we apply it like this, as you can see here, with many small movements. And the part becomes brighter. And now we do the same for everything else. Now metallic is ready, dry brushing did its job, all of the parts now look bright and juicy, and all that's left is to apply some more details. I thought it would be nice to add some color here, and this pattern in here, I'll make it purely golden. Retributor armor will work nicely for this. A wonderful gold color. Here the gold is ready. Now we need to wash it to make it all pretty, and we will use Agrax Earthshade. Auric Armor Gold to make the gold a little bit brighter. And now the gold is all done. I went out of bounds a little here. I'll need to fix that, of course. I'll use the same colors I originally used. Blue to blue, metallic to metallic. We take the very same colors and simply restore the color to make everything nice and neat. Now to the part where we paint all the small details. Like these tubes with all the ribs and pores in here, and other elements like this little skull. All in all, when you make an element brighter, and then you still think it looks a little bit off, just do like I did here. Simply paint over everything you don't like. And while we're working with white, which is needed to make the shining elements brighter, like here and here, I think we can also paint the ultramarine insignia white as well. Here are the white elements which I will make red. Why did I do it like this? I paint them white first to create a bit of depth in the color, so it doesn't look like some plain round red thing. Now it will look like it's shining, and to finalize the effect, let's use Mephiston Red. Wonderful color to use for your blood angels, and for any shining red parts of your miniatures. And now let's make them really shine. Take some red paint and spread it out really well on your palette or any other surface you will use. And with an almost dry brush, with the very end, outline this button. And you will see that with time the edges color, making the element really shine. Do you get it? You should use very little paint here. Be patient and go really slowly. Continue until it looks right for you. In my case, it's this light pinkish red on all of the metallic parts around the button. After we have brightened it all by dry brushing with Necron compound, the result looks really good. Look at the end result. If we dry brush with red all the way like I have shown you and go round, we get this super light glow effect. In order to remove all of the small mistakes, like these white bits, and make these areas a bit darker, we are going to use blue wash. I use dark blue wash in these places, on the badge and over here. Now when we paint it with gold, everything will be nice and sharp. It will get pronounced shade over here. Also we use dark wash on all of the protrusions here. And as you can see, it looks really good. The pod no longer looks flat, especially after we washed all of the nooks and crannies with dark blue wash. Remember, you can also use it for any vehicles and the ultramarines themselves. Now let's finalize everything over here, and I'm going to use the airbrush again. I will use yellow, orange, red and white. Let's take Mephiston Red and Uriel Yellow. And as for the white, well, you remember what we use, here it is. And what about orange, you might ask? Well, we'll just mix these two colors together and that's it. just a little bit left. Our second to last step is our golden Aquila. We continue using the same colors. For the base we use Retributor armor. And for the brighter tone we take Auric Gold armor. Then we dry brush a bit, so the drop pod doesn't look brand new. The Aquila should look a bit worn. For this we need Necron Compound Silver Paint. The Aquila is ready, and for the finishing touch, as for any Space Marine or, any Space Marine vehicle, it is going to be highlighting the edges. For this process, I will use white mixed with the classic Macragge blue. And here's my first drop pod, using the Ultramarines color scheme. I hope I did alright, and I hope you liked this video. Remember to always try something new. Be ready to experiment. Because, among my friends, almost nobody uses a sponge, and all of their vehicles and machines look like they are brand new, and I don't like that. Warhammer 40k is a universe of endless war, after all. There are almost no new machines in the grimdark future, So I like to add rust and some wear and tear. Concerning the drop pod itself, let's talk about some difficulties. The biggest one is the lack of miniature base. There is no way to fix it, and it is pretty huge. So you can't really fix it on some other base or something. Maybe these parts here are meant to go on a big Games Workshop holder, but I don't have anything like that. So I can't really check. So unless you have one, you'll have to hold it in your hands all the time. And you risk smudging the edges, metallic highlights, all of that stuff. To avoid that, I did them last, and I advise you to do the same. Also, if you can paint it unassembled, do it. I got this one pre-built, so I couldn't paint many of the small details. I simply couldn't reach them with my brush. But all in all, it all comes together nicely in this sort of minimalist style. And all of these corner highlights definitely help. The paint job becomes deeper and looks better. Always use highlights, especially edge highlights. They add a lot to the miniature. I am mastering them myself at the moment, so they might not look that great yet, but practice makes perfect. And that's about it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. And always remember, the Emperor protects.